What is up, everybody? And this is Chet Malarkey with Throwback Shack Collectibles, as always, with Jay Bleezy. And today we have Gary of Joypadlad that we're
Hey.
going to talk to. Hey. So, yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little about yourself?
How far back do you want me to go? 'Cause
Start back when you were a wee babe of this big, you
Yeah.
know?
'cause it's funny when I do like podcasts and stuff recently, especially because I used to have a YouTube channel a while ago, and I did like a ton of podcasts and videos and all that stuff. But like, I know some people may believe reincarnation is real, some people don't. But like in terms of the internet, like I've reincarnated like multiple times. Like I've had so many different identities over the past like 25 years on the internet. So
Mhm.
just
Yeah, you and me both, honestly.
Yeah,
I'd love to show you. We'll compare lists sometime.
My name's not Chet.
so
We get that.
what I'm
Yeah.
doing now is my most recent thing goes back. It actually goes back to 2018. I started like as a side job thing, like an online game store. I mostly did like offer up and stuff at first, and then I got my own website and did eBay and all that stuff. And that was way before, well, a couple years before 2020, when then everyone was at home with extra money and they were
And
all
time.
buying old games and stuff. Yeah, so
Mhm.
it was cool for business because I sold a ton of video games and stuff like that. But then everyone else was like, okay, I want to resell stuff now too. And so everyone was doing that. The prices went up huge, and then it was just hard to find stuff. So I did that for a few years until like around 2021, 2022, it started to dry up. It was harder, especially with my schedule too, because I have two kids that I homeschool and I do my business now full time since I was laid off in 2020. So I've been fortunate enough to keep doing it. I don't make a ton of money doing what I do, but enough to, my wife works too. And then I could do my business while also doing homeschool and taking care of the kids as well.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it's worth it as long as we
Yeah.
can do that. That's our goal, is just to try to do that as long as we can for our kids. And
Yeah, well, we did that as well. I mean, not to jump in on that, but I want to make sure we don't gloss over that. The homeschooling thing is awesome.
mhm,
We did that with let's see, three of our four daughters basically have been homeschooled. We got one on the way, but we did it all the way through the beginning of high school with our oldest daughter, and then we kind of we entered her in slowly because we didn't want it to be a completely foreign idea when if she decided to go to college or something like that. Not that we pushed that, but if she decided to, we kind of wanted it to not be as foreign an idea.
yeah.
And I think it was a lot easier to teach concepts or whatnot. But this is a rabbit trail on its own. I just wanted to give you an applause.
Yeah.
More people should consider
Thanks.
homeschooling. It's a great way
That's
to
the
go.
route we're going to be going to here
No,
shortly.
that's good. Yeah.
My oldest is 4. Yeah, when she's ready, that's what my wife's going to be doing.
Yeah, it's worth it for me. Like I've seen, like especially my oldest. As I have one boy and one girl. My oldest is my daughter. I started her first 2 years before him, and then just last year was his first year. So that was like chaotic because I was doing two at the same time.
Yeah.
And we,
I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing is what we have set up. What we use is like they watch videos. So I don't teach like every single thing, like every minute of
Mhm.
everything to them. I just set them up, and I have to like set up their paperworks and keep them moving along, and then help them when they need help. So
Yep.
I would. There's no way I'd be able to like actually be the teacher and teach both of them at the same time. So that helps. I could do that, but with our house now, because luckily it kind of helps that we have a two-story house. So I had my daughter downstairs where she's more independent because she's done it. This was like her second or her third year of school. And this was my son's first. So I had him upstairs with me. And so I would just go to the next room and check on him all the time. But her, I would have to go downstairs. So luckily I wouldn't have to check on her as much, but still running back and forth to make sure the kids are doing what they're supposed to do, especially like on a Monday when it's crazy and I'm getting all
Yep.
my orders out from the weekend. And
Yeah.
a lot of steps. You put in a lot of steps. So that's good.
Yeah. No.
I guess, but
Mad applause, bro. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely pretty awesome, man. And like I said, I didn't mean to sidetrack the whole recording with this, but I felt it needed to be touched on. It's something him and I both I've done. He's considering, and it's like I said, it's always great to hear somebody that's willing
Mhm.
to just kind of take on the mantle of guiding their own kid and giving them your value system and implanting some things there that, hey, look, maybe later on you're going to change or think differently about something, but this is where we started. This is the basis for it, and here's your curriculum. I'm your parent. We're here. Let's do this. So that's pretty cool, man.
yeah, it's good because I've already noticed with her, especially like I said, she's advanced like way more than I remember being in regular school as a kid. Like she was already able to read. Like she's read
Yeah.
I don't know, probably like 6 Goosebumps books already. I got
Nice.
a bunch of those that she reads, and she started reading like I think in probably first grade. Well, I mean, she learned in kindergarten, but like really reading books like in first grade already. And I remember being in second grade and like not even knowing how to read really yet. Like I was just would look at pictures in the comic books or whatever when they would say to read.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you're killing the game, man. Way to
Yeah.
go. So, I mean, look, I guess, kind of like back on topic.
yeah.
How did you like? Okay, so you've had many iterations of yourself over the years, and like I said, that's something I can relate to. Check and relate to. A lot of people can that are going to watch this that they've had many iterations. How did you land in this particular spot as far as like? Okay, I went from selling games or picking up games and kind of middleman in some games. Like, how did you go from that to okay, I'm going to do magnets, stickers, and all the above?
So where it actually first started was I think it was like late 2021 or so. So I've been like I started buying like stuff wholesale to resell, like blankets and stuff like that, like through Bio World and Super Impulse. They make like those little world's smallest things, a bunch of
Mhm.
different things like that. And so that helped me to not have to go hunting for stuff because I wanted to have like the ability. Because once I was like the one that was at home with the kids through most of the day, like I didn't want to be like dragging them around to try to hunt for stuff, and
Yeah.
it wasn't worth it. There was hardly anything good to find anymore because for a while I started buying like bundles of stuff, and Goodwill was selling like a bunch of cool bundles on offer up, and I actually had, which soured me on them, is there was one lady from I forget which state it was, maybe Tennessee, Goodwill, and she messaged me and she's like, oh yeah, you can buy like a ton of our stuff, what are you looking for? And then I gave her this whole list and all this, and then she's like, oh never mind, my boss said I can't do that, so just go to our auction site instead and you can buy from there. And then they stopped posting those big bundles on Goodwill, so I couldn't like buy anything to fix up online like big bundles like I used to either because
Mhm.
the margins were paper thin. And I kept thinking like I got to do something that I can, just keep reproducing like with the wholesale stuff that I can just buy and keep selling. But that stuff doesn't sell a ton. A lot of it I'm not allowed to sell anywhere but my own website. So they sell it
Yeah.
to like people like me, and then they go and sell it on like Amazon and eBay too. So even if I did, they're competition anyways. They don't want
Yeah,
they
you
don't
can't
want
beat their
competition.
price.
So
Mm.
yeah, exactly, because it comes right from them. So
Right.
I think where it first started was I did buy the printer that I use, which is a Canon 300 printer. It's like about $1,000. I bought it like just wanting to make stuff. I think I started like wanting to make cards and stuff, and then I was like, oh, I should try to make stickers. And I remember the first stickers I made were like Chrono Trigger, like the artwork, and I actually hand cut them because I didn't have anything to cut them yet. And
Nice.
then that was kind of just like I was giving those away, and then I morphed that into I had like this idea. I always, whenever I pre-plan anything, especially like the beginning of the year, like New Year resolutions, it's like, hey, this year this is my goals. Something happens, like for example, at the start of 2020, I was like, I'm going to do something cool. I'm going to do like 2020. So I'm going to do 20 things for my business I want to do, and then 20 things around the house that I want to do. And I had like this whole list, and then the world like closed down. So I couldn't do that. Then I had
Yeah.
like these all these ideas for projects I wanted to do in 2022, and then we had to move 2,000 miles away, so then I couldn't do all that stuff too. So it started before we moved. We were living in Nevada in 2022, from 2020 to 2022. So I lived in California, got laid off in 2020. We moved to Nevada just temporarily. Then we moved towards Houston area in 2022. So right before that move, I just started a thing where I wanted to beat one game on every system that I own, which I own most of like the major systems except for like some of the Sega ones. Like I don't have a
Mhm.
Saturn or like any like the add-ons for Genesis, like a 32X or a
Right.
Sega CD. And
Right.
I don't have all of the Xbox systems either, but almost every other system I have like the major ones.
Mhm.
So I was like, there's a lot of games that I haven't played or beat because I just don't have the time, and it's hard to get into stuff like I used to. So I was like, oh well, I'm gonna make a goal to beat one game on every system that I own, and I did polls on Twitter at the time, and then everyone voted. Like I would pick 4 games, and then they would vote for which ones. And so I had a
Mhm.
list, and then I had like this membership thing on my website where I sold the games and stuff like that. And the idea was it wasn't even like a fee. They would just pay $20. They would get a $20 gift card. They would get one of these membership cards. I have one like mine right here that I
Sweet.
made.
Yeah.
So
Oh man, looks
Yeah.
like old school Blockbuster
yeah,
card.
like an old school. That was like the inspiration behind it. So they would get that, and then some stickers and some other stuff I made. And then I made the deal where like every time I beat a game, I'm going to make a sticker set out of it, and then all the people that are members will get one of those sets for free. So then that lasted. I think I beat Mario Sunshine first, and I beat Final Fantasy 6, and I beat Sonic because all these games too were games that I never beat. Like some of them, like Sunshine, I got pretty far into. Final Fantasy 6 I never played before, and Sonic I played a little bit. I never owned a Genesis as a kid, so I never really got to beat it, and I never got back to it later. So they were all games that I've never beaten that I wanted to beat, and then I would make a sticker set after that. So I remember those 3. Maybe there was a 4th one. Then I also made a Chrono Trigger sticker set because it's my favorite game, and some other games like Secret of Evermore. And so I was giving those away as bonuses for like Joypad Lad members. And then as like we moved and my business like had like its worst year in that whole moving period, like during the summer of 2022, I had the idea to do more with the stickers. I had like a big cartel shop, and I had an Etsy before, and I didn't put a lot on it, and I just deleted it. I had to delete it actually and start new because it had my old bank account, and
Oh.
they wouldn't let
Let you
me
change it.
change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was
Oh.
like you have to have access to the bank account to change it. So then I deleted it. So that's why I have Joypad Lad's shop instead of just Joypad Lad on Etsy. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna try it and see how that goes. And I
Mhm.
just started the beginning of last year. I think it was January, the infamous January 6th day, not the actual January 6th day, but
Sure.
the,
Yeah.
the anniversary of it. So I think
Mhm.
it was the 6th or 7th. It was around that time. I decided to, okay, every week at the time it was Saturday. Every week, every Saturday, I'm going to do a new sticker set. And in between, if I can, and I wasn't doing magnets at the time, later I added that in, but I would just do like a full game and then release it every Saturday and then whatever else in between. So I've almost missed a couple times just because I've been having to play catch up. Sometimes they take a long time to make. Then with the hurricane, we lost power for 4 days, and I'm like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
he was
miss
telling me that.
it. So I
Lose
was
that
worried about
status.
that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now,
So there was a streak going, right? Like, what was the streak? Explain the streak, because I saw that tweet and I was like, okay, streak. What's up with the streak?
yeah, so that's what I was saying. The start of 2022, because I reopened Etsy in September 2021, and I
Okay.
just did a little bit with it. But then I said, new year 2022, I'm gonna just go all in on it because it's really like the best option I have to try to make any money right now. So I did every Saturday a new sticker set. So starting the first Saturday of 2022, every single Saturday, so 52 weeks, I did a new game, and then some in between too. And
Wow.
some of them are also where I'll do like, okay, it's one game, but then there's like a smaller version, a larger version of it,
Mhm.
and then like an even larger version. So like just last week I did a Yoshi's Island one, and that was 3 different sizes. So those kind
Wow.
of take extra time because it's like not only do I have like 3 sheets that I'm working with of, I want 3 sheets worth of stuff from this game, but I also have to figure out, okay, what do I want in the first sheet, and then what do I want in the second to add to
Sure.
the 2 sheet set, and then the 3 sheet. So it gets kind of complicated. I mean, I could make it really easy if I wanted to by just throwing stuff in there and then waste a ton of space and like not fit as much stuff and just waste money. But I'm not that kind of person. So
Sure. No.
so I
Well, I
spend like
mean,
hours and hours trying to fit them in like Tetris. So
you want to, yeah, you want to not waste. That's the whole key to making any kind of money in any
mhm.
business. And let's
Mhm.
face it. I mean, that's what it is, right? Like, you're not necessarily a charity here, right? You're trying to make some
It
money,
comes
and
down to those
and
margins.
and there's that's not a bad thing, right? That's not a bad word. Making some money, and that's good, man. Let me ask you this: as far as the process, so you mentioned you bought the printer.
Yeah.
And then I guess you've got the different sticker pads and whatever else. I mean, I don't even really know the lingo. Like, so what is the what is the I guess the process as far as the process itself? You design it, print it. How does that all go?
Well, for me, the way I have it set up, there's like 2 big like craft cutting machines, I guess you could call them, that people use. There's the Silhouette, Cameo, and then there's the Cricut, which is like pretty popular. I just, for whatever reason, I think because I was going to design shirts and stuff too, I went with the Silhouette Cameo because I think it was more easy to do that kind of stuff too. I actually bought a I think it was like $800, like on a Black Friday years ago, like 3 years ago, an $800 heat press that I've never even opened out of the box
Oh,
yet.
geez, yeah.
It just
The
shows
next
you how.
iteration. Get it on
Yeah.
the next iteration.
Yeah, so I still have that to get to at some point. So I went with that. So there's the software that you use with it, and you can kind of move stuff around. It has registration marks that prints on there that it can scan when it cuts the sheet of whatever it is. It doesn't have to be sticker paper because it also works. I use it for like matte photo paper whenever I make buttons. So I have the designs on there, and it cuts those out so I can use them for the button press that I have, and then the magnets as well, and then some other different things. You can do like all kinds of stuff, but I mostly just have the sticker paper, holographic sticker paper, the photo paper, and then the magnet paper. The cards that I make, I just cut those by hand because they're just rectangles, and I print them two-sided too, and I don't want to like put them on like a sticky mat and ruin one side, so
Right.
I just cut those by hand. But so I have the whole. I actually use a paint program. Like I use like a really old school one because like whatever I'm used to using, I just use for the rest of my life. So I use
Yeah.
I use Paint Shop Pro 7, which is like over 20 years old now. And then I have the size of the image that I know, like that's a full sheet that'll fit within the registration marks too, because it can't be like a full sheet. It has like a little bit of margins on it. So I'll do that, and then I'll add like graphics from a game. Typically, most of them on average, and I use different resources. Like I use websites like Spriter's resource, but then I also play the games and rip up myself. A lot of times I do that more than anything because I just prefer whatever the color palette is on my end. Because sometimes they'll have like an old sheet from like an old emulator, and the colors are all dull, and I don't really like how they look.
Yeah.
So, and then I also want to make sure too, because a lot of times I try to capture specific moments from a game, and it'll be like a combination of sprites, not just like the basic sprite of Mario or something. Sometimes
Yeah.
you want to have him like doing a certain thing, and they don't.
I noticed that with
Jumping or
your
shooting a
I
fireball.
noticed that
or
with your
something.
Earthbound series that you have. Your Earthbound series captures. That's one of my favorite games of all time, is Earthbound, and you
Cool.
captured some of the best moments of that.
And that's where it gets hard, because I mean I'll get into that side of it, but like just like the actual creating the product itself physically. So the design I do, like I'll put in the graphic, like I'll take it from a game, for example, and it's like one pixel on the screen is one pixel in the game. That's why it's called pixel art, of course. So what I'll do on in most cases, it just worked out like the best size for me. I'll do 20 times 1, so the pixels, I'll make them 20 by 20 instead of just 1 by 1. And so most games I do that, and on all the sets that I make, I actually put what the pixel ratio is for them. Like for example, yeah, that Zelda one, that's a 20 by 1. Most of them are, but then some games, if they're like massive sprites, I make them like a smaller pixel ratio. Like I think, for example, the wrestling games I did, WWF, WrestleFest, and Superstars, I think are 10 to 1. And I try to keep, like, if there's similar games, I try to keep them similar ratio. So like, for example, if you wanted to have stickers from Street Fighter 2, and then, for example, I just did X-Men versus Street Fighter, I did them the same pixel ratio. So then if you wanted to like put them together on like your wall or a shelf or whatever you do, like I've seen like some crazy stuff people do with them. Like back in the days in your elementary schools, you would have like the alphabet like above the chalkboard around the room. Like I've seen people do like that, but with like all just stickers that I made. It's like crazy.
That's pretty badass.
It's crazy to know like people have like that many stickers like that I've made all over their room. I've sold like, I don't know. I think I tried to calculate it because it's hard to know like actually how many single stickers I've made before, but it's definitely like probably close to 100,000 at this point.
Holy cow,
yeah,
so that's a lot of stickers.
It's a lot, yeah.
So a lot of stickers.
So once I get the image, I put it on the sheet. I add like I expand it by like 30 pixels, and then I fill in the space around it. I used to do that temporarily, and then remove it, and then add the cut, 30 pixels outside in the software. But I noticed sometimes a lot of the edges end up like kind of too sharp. So I started doing where I just manually add like the outline myself, and then just like smooth out some of the corners and edges that get like a little bit rough and sometimes bunch up when they cut. So I do that. I import it into the program, and then I just have like my presets of like what the material is and how to cut it, um, how many passes and all that stuff, and then I just run it through my cutting machine. I have two now, so I'm able to do two at the same time. And it's usually I'll do like magnets on one and stickers on the other, and then I'll do stickers on both once all the magnets are done, because the magnets don't sell as much as the stickers. It's usually stickers. So
Yeah.
That's
then
surprising to me, actually.
yeah,
I thought it'd been vice versa.
yeah, it's getting pretty close. Like there's a lot of magnets that sell now, but overall it's still more stickers than anything. And then I think I have right here, I have these little, actually, so some games I can't fit the logo on the sheet, because like I want to fit as much stuff as I can. Like for example, Zelda and Mario games, I don't put the logo in like the main sheet with the rest of the sprites. So technically, most sets that I have, like the smallest one, should be one sheet, two sheets, and three sheets. But sometimes it's more, because the logo won't be counted as part of those sheets. Like for
Yeah.
example, I keep like extra logos that I cut on a separate sheet, and then I throw them in, and I ship them in the same thing as well, like these little pouches that I just heat seal. And they're not like vacuum sealed, so I have to sometimes like poke a hole with a hole punch so that they stay flat, because a lot of them, like the smaller sets,
Sorry.
I mail them with envelopes as well, so they need to be as flat as possible.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. Like, wow, we are like zooming around all over the place.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know.
It's musical chairs. I'm getting sick,
It's on
man.
my end. Like, I don't know what happened to our orientation. So
Yeah, no, I mean, that's completely so. Like, for instance, if somebody orders a sticker set, let's say tonight they order a sticker set, and you go and make that. How long start to finish for that one set? Just one set.
Yeah, so if it's already designed, of course, obviously, I got to print everything. And it's like a minute or two. It just depends. It doesn't take that long really at all to print a single sheet, if it's a single sheet. And then it takes, if it's a sticker set, I actually, my new machine, I'm able to cut with one pass. My old one doesn't cut as good like at one pass, so I got to do two passes. So if I use my new machine to cut a single sheet of stickers, like for a sticker set, and then like take it into account packaging and all that, it doesn't take that long really. It's like a few minutes for to cut it, and then like a minute or so to print it, and then packaging it could be like a couple of minutes. So it doesn't take that long. But just to give you an example of my today, I think I was around 9 a.m. I got started working on orders from the weekend, and I had like 20, I think it was 26 orders from the weekend on Etsy. Not all of them I got done. I almost did. It's just I ran out of time. I had like a couple times, like my timing will be good, but then like something will cut wrong, and I got to reprint a couple things. So I had to do that a couple times today. That messed me up a little bit. But there was, I think I counted between magnets, like all the magnet sets and all the sticker sets, and this was like one of my biggest weekends, because I had like the Red Cow Entertainment. They did a clip on their podcast so I got a lot of orders from that. So, but it was like,
I want to talk about that next. So okay. Yeah, go into that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just 53. I think it was like 53 between magnets and stickers, 53 sheets I had to cut. So from and I printed them all the night before, besides the ones I had to reprint. I usually try to do that to make it easier. So cutting those and packaging them, and not only just packaging them, because I have to like lay them out when I have like those little pouches like I showed you. So what I'll do when I set these up, I'll put it on the outside, and I'll put the logo down first, and then I'll just like put them all around, like so it's all even, and then I slide them in. And so that's how they end up looking. I don't really have one to show as an example, but that's how they end up, as flat as possible, and they look cool, because you can see like all the stickers that are on the top when you first look at it with the window on there. So doing that, as well as cutting them, putting them in there, and then sealing them and packaging them, it was from like 9 a.m. to around 4 20 or so when I got to the post office like 10 minutes before it closed. And that was almost nonstop working like the whole day. Like I didn't eat lunch or anything. I
It's
just
just
made
cutting
lunch.
and packaging.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Be
made,
honest. Was there a Happy Gilmore scenario where you had the kids, like the grandmas, making the quilts in the corner, and they're like, "Oh, Daddy, our fingers are tired." You're like, "Ah, keep going."
no, I've never had anyone help me with anything. Like,
No help. Okay, okay,
yeah, I do
just
everything
confirming.
myself. so,
Yeah.
so yeah, it
So
was
tell
tough. The Mondays, a lot of times are like that, and Fridays too. So,
tell us about the red cow thing. I went back and watched
Yeah,
that
I'm familiar with
video
this.
because you posted that. And Troy, it makes sense that you're familiar with it. Chet, sorry, it makes sense that you're familiar with it because you are kind of a drama nerd. And this guy like totally reminded me. Say, I mean it in a loving way. This guy totally reminded me of your kind of journey and story of just kind of being local. But I mean, he took it to another extent. The red cow gentleman. So tell me how that ties in with
Yeah.
you, Gary. Like what happened there?
so yeah, I just randomly found their channel about probably like a year or so ago because they did like all these videos on AVGN, and I'm not like the biggest AVGN fan. Like I only really kind of knew about like his stuff, but like in the
Mhm.
old internet days, but I didn't really watch it that much. I just knew who he was. I just remember him, and then like all the ripoffs. Like I didn't really watch that much of it. And then they started doing like those rental reviews and stuff like that. And I know a lot of like the old fans hated that stuff, but I actually would watch some of that stuff, and it was some of it was decent. So that's really all I mostly knew them for. And then I just randomly the algorithm decided to give me the Red Cow Entertainment channel and them talking about it, and it just was hilarious the way that they were covering it, especially because they knew more about like the history of his channel because they were huge fans like from the
Mhm.
beginning. So it was just entertaining to watch, and then like I would just watch a lot of their clips, and then I just had the idea I wanted to send them some stuff because I just thought they were cool, and they do like a lot of unboxing videos and stuff too. So I was like, I'll send them some stuff, and I've done that before too, where I've sent stuff to people, and I don't really have expectations of them doing anything with it because I've had people where they just ignore it or they never say anything
Sure.
anyway. So I
Hmm.
was like, whatever, I
Yeah.
just want to send them some cool
Yeah.
stuff and just spread out, awareness of what I make and stuff. And then he got it, and he's like, "Oh, this is cool." And then he sent me the clip before it went live, and it's like, "Oh, that's cool." I told him, "You don't have to do that, but definitely appreciate it." So then I was just waiting, and I think it was like 3 weeks before it finally went live, and I was like, "Okay, let's see if he's going to put it live." And then he did, and it was on last Friday, I think it was. So it was actually
That's awesome.
perfect. It was perfect because then I had like the whole weekend to worry about all those orders because it was just like a lot of stuff, a lot of big orders too. So that made it tough to get done. But almost everything I got done and shipped out today. I got to go tomorrow to the post office for a couple things. I don't like to go. I usually go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's what I try to do. So, but
Right.
sometimes I got to go extra days.
Well, that's
So what's
cool. I mean,
been
so you got a big bump. Yeah. Go ahead, Chet.
Mhm.
I was just gonna jump into like what's your favorite kind of video game wise to do? Do you have a favorite kind of IP that you're just dig? That's your thing.
So if you look at my top games list, I'm trying to remember if my trying to remember my exact top five, but I have Chrono Trigger number one,
Hmm.
Final Fantasy VII number two. So mostly RPGs. Number three is Dragon Quest Builders 2. I've been playing that more than anything recently. Like I beat the whole game, was really into it, and then I kind of had to like set it aside because I get like burnt out on stuff easy. And then I just started picking it up and just finishing up like builds and stuff like that. Then the post game that you do on there, and just having fun with that and helping my daughter on her island on there as well. Um,
Cool.
Minecraft was like I think it's in my top five, 4 or 5. And I used to have a YouTube channel, like I mentioned, that I used
Hmm.
to do Minecraft videos and stuff. Uh, my friend that I used to do videos with back then, his channel, like we were both trying to like make it big when like the Minecraft Let's Play was the thing to
Yeah.
do back then, and it never worked out. Like so, then I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I had like 1,000 videos or so, and I did other stuff
Wow.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Dude, that's a
and
lot of content, man.
Yeah, that's
at,
huge.
at one point I was uploading 3 videos a day, and and then I was just like, okay,
Grinding.
yeah, I was like burned out by it, and I was like, I don't want to like keep thinking I'm gonna quit and then go back to it and keep
Hmm.
trying. So I just deleted all my stuff, so it's like all gone forever. Well, I mean, you can still find some like collab videos. Like the other person's side of it. You can hear like me talking to them in the videos because we do like some different challenges in Minecraft and stuff like that. And there's a podcast that me and my friend used to do as well, and I'm pretty sure uh, because we went to Minecon 2013 and we met like some people, including Dinnerbone, who's like one of the big developers for the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure we did the first ever podcast that he ever did because,
Oh wow.
yeah, because he agreed for whatever reason to do an interview with us. So that
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was the first one he ever did, and I don't know if he's done any since. But so that was a
awesome.
cool achievement. But my friend, he kind of off and on kept up with his channel, but now just recently he once he was done with college and all that, he really focused on it again, and now he's got like over 2 million subscribers. So,
Oh geez.
Holy
it's
cow!
crazy. So I don't know if
Yeah,
you guys
That's
So
crazy.
you guys are wrestling fans, right? Or at least one of you is, right?
well, all right. So not fully, but I mean enough to kind of know what's going on.
Okay,
right?
so if you know any old school wrestling, like I consider myself like I was the Marty Jannetty of the tag team. He was the Shawn Michaels.
Mhm.
So
okay,
it's
okay.
cool. It's cool because he was like my best friend at the time doing YouTube. So it's cool
Mhm.
to see him get a huge channel. But at the
Yeah,
same
it's
time,
amazing.
I'm like, man, I wish we both did it, you know. But at the same
Yeah.
time, now like, I've like moved on beyond that. Like, it'd be cool to do videos and stuff like that again, but like, I just don't think I could ever keep up with it, especially if I had a huge channel. Like the pressure of that, I think that's the old me was looking for that, but now like I've
Mhm.
moved on beyond that, so I don't think I could keep up with it anymore anyways. But it's still cool to see like what he was able to do. So if
Yeah.
if you take those games, including Minecraft, like I said, mostly like RPGs, mostly like creative games where you kind of get to
Mhm.
do what you want to do, which I guess makes
Sandboxy,
sense.
make your own kind of stuff.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
I don't I mean I like RPGs, but at the same time I sometimes get sick of games if they have too much story. Like I like the original Zelda and Link to the Past because you got
Yeah.
to just kind of do more on your own. And that's why I kind of liked Breath of the Wild as well, even though it's kind of missing some of the classic Zelda stuff. It's still kind of more like the first few games and less like because I played some of the 3D Zelda games and it felt like it was way too closed in and way too like too much dialogue and stuff like that because a lot of them you start off like in a town and then they can't even get out of the town until you do all this stuff like
Mhm.
that's one thing I hate. Like even though I love Dragon Quest Builders too, like the forced tutorial at the beginning of the game like really annoys me too. Like I hate forced tutorials. So yeah, those are the kind of games I like. And wrestling games too and sports games,
What
mostly
about
just like Madden I used to play on the PS2, but nothing really recent though.
I see you have a I watched you some of your YouTube videos and I noticed that you have kind of an affinity for Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh, Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, is
that's
that
one of my favorite games. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's
your.
funny
I
because
think that's your wife's, right?
yeah, it's my wife's favorite game. Like her and her brother used to play that game so much, and like I had
that's cool.
never heard of it before. And then we started looking at your content, and you had the promotional poster on your wall, and you make a sticker and the magnet sets for it. So it was pretty amazing.
No, it's cool. I only found it recently too. I just remember it vaguely, and then one of my friends is like a big fan of the game, and so then I started playing it on my arcade. It's actually that's like the best way to play it is on the arcade because it really is like an arcade game. So then I ended up making the sticker set of that. But that's the thing too is I was familiar with that game even though I never beat it. But going back to Earthbound, like I wanted to discuss earlier, is like I never played Earthbound. I never beat it. So for games like that where I know almost nothing about them, I have to research. Like for example, Earthbound, I watched like a ton of like long play videos. I would look at guides. Fortunately, for like some shorter games, especially there's this channel I found where he like kind of explains like every level of the game and stuff like that. And so I was able to learn more about the game and what does this mean. And then I play him as well, usually with cheats, so I don't play anything like the right way.
Hmm.
Like for example, when I did Earthbound, I was using like cheats to be able to glitch through stuff and just kind of look around and try to find what I was looking for. And
Yeah.
and you and save states, like so there's a ton of sites like if they have save states and stuff like that, it's really helpful for me so I can get to an area that I want to get to if I want to get a
Yeah, 'cause
specific
it's time, it
screenshot.
takes time to do that kind
Mhm.
of stuff. And as adults who have businesses and have families, we don't have that kind of time anymore. So save states are very important for this kind of industry.
So settle an argument for us, Gary. Mario or Legend of Zelda, what is the better selling IP amongst your stickers and magnets and buttons? What is the
Ooh,
better of the two?
overall, or
Yeah, maybe let's just call it
Yeah.
overall.
it's hard to say. Like Link to the Past is like one of my best selling sets, and the thing is with Etsy, they kind of messed something up recently where you can't even like go through your whole list and sort by most sales anymore. It'll show like the top 5 and then the rest are all zeros unless you like go through them like sorted by views and stuff, and then you got to like piece together the numbers. And they haven't even fixed that. It's been like a year. So I don't really know for sure, but I think I'm pretty sure both of them, Link to the Past and Mario World, I think had over 100 sales. Uh, but I'm pretty sure Link to the Past has more than any Mario set.
Ah, boo.
But
Right. That's
but
right.
the thing is, surprisingly, like Link's Awakening and the original Legend of Zelda don't sell that often. But Mario World, Mario 3, and Mario RPG, like it's kind of died down a little bit, but that one sold a lot. Mario Kart sells a lot. Mario Sunshine sometimes. Mario 2, like no one loves that game. Like no one.
I love
hardly
that game. Yeah.
I hate that fucking game.
I love it. And well, to introduce so many crazy characters too. Like you got Birdo, you got the Shy Guys, like who are now classic characters that like
It's not
originally
even. It
came
was
from.
never even supposed to be a Mario
No,
game, man.
no.
It was
Hey,
never even supposed to be a Mario game.
It actually was supposed to be a Mario game first. Then it wasn't. Then it was. Like if you look,
Okay.
so
Yes.
they were designing it as like possibly a Mario game. Then it wasn't. Then it was. So technically, kind of it was.
Fuck that
But
game.
but hey, but hey, here's the thing though. Like, would you rather have had lost levels and like everyone would have hated it, and like Mario probably would have died in the U.S. than Mario 2? At least it was a fun, different game. At least that was back in the days where it was like, it's weird now because like people want a sequel and they want it to be like so much like the first game. And back then, Nintendo was like, "Nah, let's just change everything. That's this."
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Zelda 2 totally
wildly.
changed the game.
Yeah. Mechanics, characters, everything, just completely different.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
not my favorite, but that's okay. And hopefully they sell a gazillion more from this moving forward. But so anyway, usually like I kind of wrap things up generally speaking about like family time and how much time that leaves you to be devoted to the actual projects that you do. But I think we kind of covered that a lot, man. I mean, you've got a lot going on, and it's pretty amazing that you got the time to do this as well. I mean, I can tell you firsthand, being the stay-at-home dad, I worked in radio, so there was a lot of times where I was at home with the kids, and I know exactly how much time that takes away from doing anything, let alone trying to do a business. So
Yeah.
I mean, are you laser focused here? I mean, is this the end result? Are you going to try to blow this thing up, or do you think you got other projects at hand, or what's your future looking like with this?
I don't know. I also do make cards on the side. Mostly, what I've been doing is I started with this one guy wanted to have this old late '90s WCW autograph style card that were like super popular with collectors, especially the last few years. He wanted to have like new cards made in that style a couple years ago, and I started doing those like probably like 60 different designs every year, and I've done more and more and more. So I do cards as well on the side. That's like a separate brand or whatever.
Yeah.
But like in terms of my shop, I actually have my game store thing down because I moved it from Shopify to I'm moving it to WooCommerce. So I got to get to that and get that done, and I'm trying to come up with some different ideas and gimmicks for that because like before I used to be like really diversified where I sold stuff. It used to be a lot easier. Like OfferUp used to be like really popular, Facebook Marketplace, Mercari and eBay I would sell a lot on, and then that just all kind of died off the last like 2 years. And luckily I do have Etsy because that's like 99% of my income now, because
Yeah.
like the rest never sell anything anymore, and it's hard for me to even have the time with making all this stuff to get stuff listed anyways, because I do have a lot of stuff that I still need to get pictures of and list and all that, but I just hardly have the time because like even just making one of those sticker sets, just like trying to not only figure out how to like, it's like playing Tetris, and you have the rectangle to fit all your pieces in, but you don't know what the pieces are going to look like until they come one by one. So you got to try to figure that out. And then you're just like, okay, this isn't going to work. And then move stuff back around again and try to fit like all that stuff that you want to fit in there. So that whole process, and then also researching like games and stuff takes, sometimes it takes me like 9 hours on a Saturday, like almost working on it nonstop to get it done. So that takes a lot of time. I want to do more because I'm paranoid. Like I don't like having like, okay, this is my main thing. Cause then what if something happens to this? So I definitely got to do something else as well. Like I like to have different things going. So I'm still figuring that out. I don't really know for sure. Like I have a couple ideas, but it just takes so much time to do like marketing and building up like some other things when right now most people don't even know like I had like the game store or anything of that, because the sticker thing has been more about like what the brand's been about now. So people know that and they're like, oh, I didn't even know you had this or that. And I did have like a ton of games, but then it was like where I didn't have anything that was really like that popular. So I just traded like all of them in. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to narrow it down. And if I have games now still, it's just going to be like certain things, certain systems, and like try to really have like more of a focus and a niche for that store. But I still haven't totally figured out. I'm trying to do something where it's gaming related, but kind of gaming nostalgia type store that's more of easier for me to keep up with and have stuff that people would be interested in, but then also doesn't take a ton of time because the Etsy stuff takes a lot of time. So we'll see. I got to get that site done this summer, and then we'll see how it goes.
Cool. I mean, Chet, you got anything else? I wanted Gary. Where should people be? I guess focusing their attention.
What's your pluggables?
Give us the pluggables.
Well, right now the easiest thing, because my website's down, but it has all my links. If you just go to joypadlad.com, it has everything on there. Other than that, you could just find me on Twitter at Joypadlad Shop, because some random person that has a thought of Joypadlad before me. I don't know how, but and
he kept it and left Twitter forever.
Yeah, just left Twitter forever with it. So Joypadlad Shop on Twitter, and then I have my link to Linktree on there, and then a bunch of other links as well. But the easiest thing, like I said, is just go to joypadlad.com, because that's where my game store would be at. But right now it's under construction and it has links to everything. Like I even have a couple, I think it's a TeePublic. So I have a couple of t-shirt designs on there and other stuff. You can find all the links to on there. It also has all the social media links as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chet was telling me about an order that he was, probably looking to place here in the near future. So that's pretty cool, man. I mean, we're excited about it. I'm glad you gave us some time tonight to just kind of come on and explain what you do, how you do it, the time and effort that's put into it, the behind the scenes with what you got going on, man, because it is a busy life. I get it, and
it's way more busy
admirable,
in terms of like just the process.
Yeah. I mean, he complicates it with not only having the family life going on, but also, you're right, the process itself. It can be intricate and difficult, especially when you're designing something new. So we appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on tonight. And we're going to get this on tomorrow night's live show. And we'll go from there, brother.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Thanks. You too.